There are some funny moments when you're not used to living with normally functioning energy, and suddenly it starts to function properly. I had a funny experience like that. A young guy came in, and he started having some problems with potency. How did he get himself into this situation? That's a whole different story. But I am sitting with her. We are doing the practice together, and I am looking at his first center. It is simply blocked. I say, listen, let's focus on this then. We need to start establishing something there. And we begin to loosen up, and I help them. Here he synchronizes, everything is fine, and gradually his energy begins to flow, and it starts to flow for him, well, more or less acceptably. In other words, if I saw something like this in myself, it would be a disaster. But for him, it is acceptable. Well, that's it. Come on, while he is leaving, literally after a day, he sends me a message. Listen, he says, what should I do now? I ask, what happened? He says, I'm permanently aroused. He says, I'm about to start throwing myself against the walls. He asks, how do I deal with this? You there? That energy. I say, quiet, quiet, quiet. He says, you even have an abnormal movement. It's just that you started to move. A person becomes so accustomed to their tense state that their psyche reacts to the normal presence of this energy, resulting in a permanent state of arousal. They cannot manage this energy, even though it is actually below normal. This is interesting, but it is not dangerous. It is just important to be aware of it. I tell him, wait a minute, let's not rush. Just hold this state for a week and get used to it. A week has passed, everything has become harmonious, and he has gotten used to it. Now, this is no longer enough for him. He wants more, and that is normal. Because appetite comes during eating. There are others, for example, jokes. Here is the third center. This is the center that is responsible for management, manipulation, training, and commands. That is, these are quite rigid, resilient energies with the help of which you can train a dog and raise your child through these rigid energies. Of course, for a child, just one center is not enough. They need to be nurtured across all centers. But it works very well with animals. Again, a person comes in. We practice, and I say, oh, why is your energy center so tense? So he says, well, let's reveal it. And so we reveal it. Energies manifest. The person goes to work, and they try to treat him the way they usually do. But he starts to, as the word goes, fidget. In other words, he was even more heated, insisting that no, he would not allow them to treat him that way. And he loses this job because in that capacity, no one is waiting for him there anymore. He is needed there as a slave whom he manages. Energies have manifested in him, and he says, no, I do not agree. Such a relationship is necessary. Well, what they tell him is, well, we do not agree to support you here then. And the person goes to another job, not really worrying about the fact that, well, subconsciously he understood that this job was very suppressive for him. Well, it's kind of unpleasant, yes, but there's this feeling when you do something yourself and you're like, that's it. I'm great. There is a variation where reality performs the action for you, and it's somewhat unpleasant, but damn, I would have gladly done it myself. I was just afraid, I took precautions, and then it happened, and it's good that it turned out that way, and whatever. So the person wasn't too upset. It was just the fact itself. Each energy center is responsible for a specific activity of a person in the external world, and for their relationships with the external world. And when we bring our centers to at least an acceptable level of flow and burning, a person changes. He changes as a person, changes as a bearer of character, and positions himself completely differently. He positions himself as more freedom-loving, and he positions himself as more demanding. To realize one's whims, not everyone can realize their whims. Such a person will realize them because he sees opportunities, he does not see problems, so why not? He is already asking questions, he is already starting to demand, meaning he begins to manifest as something conscious that moves reality. And that's the funny part, that from the outside it may look unexpected.
As a manifestation of some ego, right?
Yes. Naturally, he will be met with those slippers saying, oh, you are selfish. Oh, that's not allowed. You must obey us. You must bend to us. Oh dear.
And were there any similar stories with other centers?
Yes, there are a lot of these stories.
Have you had any in your personal practice?
Well, yes, I have had such things. And however strange it may sound, this story with the fourth center was related. All my life, in the beginning, when I had no relation to apprenticeship, tradition, or my teacher, I just somehow crawled with my efforts in the information fields, and I was convinced that the fourth center is about love. That is the fourth center. You love, you are all in bliss, all those things. I understood that, yes, I needed to manifest all of this. And I worked with the fourth center. I manifested it. I learned to draw it out from within myself. I had many problems because it was very constricted. Due to his childhood, the center was crystallized, along with the space around it. And I started to burn it, ignite it, manifest it. trying to release this energy from within myself. And at some point, the feedback from reality from other people, I started to see it as, why are you being so brazen? What do you think you're allowing yourself? Who gave you permission for this? And then I started to think, wait, it somehow aligns in my head, not right away, not in the moment, but in the evening, when you're reflecting on it before sleep, it aligns. And I begin to ask the question, listen, why did I even obey? Why did I suppress myself? Why didn't I manifest? I was doing what I didn't like. And only after many, many years, when I found my teacher, when he began to explain this on a completely different level, I first heard from him that the fourth center is not about love at all. The fourth center is about your manifestation. When you say, you are allowed, you have the right, you are, you exist, you have the right to want, you have the right to achieve, and you do this on equal terms with reality. This is not about love, this is about equality. I got involved in these processes a long time ago, and I didn't understand why people treated me that way. Because I was in a state of submission, in a state of being suppressed. Yes, not with everyone, of course, but with certain people, I was definitely suppressed. I started to straighten up, to stand tall and say, no, it won't be as you wish, more. It will be as I need it to be. And this is the fourth center. Very few people know about it, but I have experienced it. Even without having this information, because the information was incorrect, it was false and distorted.
And where does love come from then?
The heart. This is the center. If we take the thoracic cage, then here is the beginning, the end, and if we visually divide it in the middle, the center will be located in the upper part of the thoracic cage, while the heart will be in the lower part of the thoracic cage, and it is slightly shifted. And I later paid attention to the endless amount of confusion in this. It's just a complete disaster, how mixed up everything is. No, the heart is here, and there is love. The center is here, and here you are as manifestation.
That is the anahata, and it is also the fourth center. This is not equal, and this is not equal. The spiritual heart.
No, it is not equal. It is not even close. It is a completely different process. The spiritual heart is the bindu. It is the very passage that leads you to the treasury deity.
To its essence.
To your essence. To yourself as the first cause. And the fourth center leads you to your right to be alive, manifest.
Is there a difference between centers and what is called dantian? Is there a tradition where there are 3 dantians, lower, middle, and upper?
Yes. And I can even say more. I have spent a certain number of lives in this tradition. I studied under a rather serious master, Tachi. And that is exactly where all this information and everything about dantian was contained. These are areas that are filled with energy vibrations.
Tanks, right?
Yes. And they can be manifested as such spheres. But there are also deeper processes involved. At these levels, we have certain concentrates of deeper processes. Let's take the lower dantian. If we dig from the spherical perception into what is inside this sphere, what is actually inside, there is the energy of will. There is something called intention, which is the ray that penetrates us from top to bottom, dividing into 3 components along the front of the body, the back, and the middle in the same area. There is a vortex that flows. I often say it's a vortex in the womb. And immediately the guys ask, but where is it for us? Well, it's located right there. Yes, it simply comes from the prostate for us, while there it specifically moves around the uterus. This vortex is, by its nature, a manifestation of Kundalini. Everyone will say, wait, but Kundalini is, guys, where is your blood? You have blood here and here and here. Somewhere there is more blood, somewhere there is less. Sometimes it is rushing, sometimes it is arterial, and sometimes it is venous. Kundalini also has different aspects of manifestation. One aspect of manifestation is indeed located in the sacrum. I am not disputing that. Yes, that aspect is there. The other aspect is the very vortex that is also found in the lower part of the abdomen. He takes his beginning from there, and all of this they say, well, the lower dantian, but the details, you look for the details yourself. Well, for me, it's different. I start right with the details, not with the dantian. The middle dantian is the bindu in the heart. This is actually the foundation of foundations. The space of the 5th gate is the matrix. An energy formation that defines us as human beings in this world. That is a certain sign, certain energy characteristics. This is all about this middle point. And there is also a lot in the upper dantian. I have mentioned all of this in the course.
What is the most important energy center from the perspective of energy? There are times when a person feels drained and lacks strength. What does he need to activate, or where should he focus his attention? What should he work on to initiate this flow of life force?
He needs to relax and stop tightening himself into a spasm. You know, this is your question from the category of I had a cramp in my calf muscle, then all my muscles cramped at once. So, which muscle is more important? You are not any more important. You just need to relax them, and that's it. Your entire functionality will be restored immediately. This nuance is so simple that it is sometimes overlooked. You just need to relax, and the energy will flow freely and effortlessly on its own. It is just happy to flow through you. You don't even have to look far for this. I showed this example to those people who learned basic processing. I said, look, let's find the flow of energy at the tips of the fingers. We are sitting. Did you find it? You found it? I say, now look, this energy flows inside a person's hand. He listens, feels it, yes. He says something flows, like electric current, or some droplets of water are moving. I say, great. And now tense your muscle. I say, try now, find your energy. He says, it just stopped moving. I say, that's absolutely right. And when we tense ourselves, you can even notice that a person lies down to sleep. They lie there, and then go limp. But they don't have to go limp. They can remain tense. It's precisely this that allows you to stretch in the morning. Stretching feels good. Many people reach out to Skype in the morning. These are just a few, although it is a very pleasant process. Why? Because you are tense, and if you have learned to get rid of that tension, it is much more important than any process.
Do you provide practices that allow for relieving this tension, let's say, in the most effective way? Not through alcohol, not just by lying in shavasana, or by exhausting yourself so that when you are overstrained, your body has already given in and relaxed.
All my practices are aimed in one way or another at helping us to relax. Before each practice, I say a phrase. We take a comfortable body position, relax, and let go. We work with each muscle in our body, actually before every practice. This means we examine our physical body, focusing our attention on any residual tensions. This is how the practice begins. Then we look at some energy processes. For example, in a recently filmed course, I demonstrated what a properly aligned spine is in terms of physics. This immediately adds 10 to your relaxation throughout the day. If you don't push yourself too far back and don't lean too far forward, if you hold yourself like on a rod, then your muscles simply hang, and they don't need to support you. You don't hold yourself up through physics. You simply hold yourself up because the joints are stacked on top of each other. And due to gravity, they engage in muscle work. It's a really cool state. In this course, I talked about how one can enhance themselves using simple physical exercises. I constantly promote gymnastics, dancing, and various spa procedures. All of this helps. It helps to relax. And when a person relaxes, when their energy begins to flow, it becomes very easy to find this energy within themselves and to amplify its movement. If you are tense, then even if you have found your energy, it is infinitely difficult to increase it. It simply hits a wall of tension. At the last moment, while I was practicing Tai Chi, and we were being shown all these movements, my teacher immediately said, guys, don't try to copy all these movements. If you simply copy them blindly, you are not practicing Tai Chi. You need to move your attention within your body. And when you move your attention inside your body, you automatically choose hand movements that create minimal tension and minimal muscle work. You kind of round yourself out, you move like a wave, you flow like a liquid, you just float. And this is noticeable when you move your attention over yourself. If you do not move your attention over yourself, then it doesn't matter to you how you hold your hand, whether you hold it like this or like that. But a blockage has already occurred here. You just don't see it.
What can practices provide specifically in terms of working with one's energy centers?
The possibility of freedom, tranquility, confidence, power, a high-quality life, satisfaction of one's needs, mental stability, awareness, wisdom.
How can this be described, let's say, in a more down-to-earth language? Well, with specific examples.
Yes, it's great to live. It's awesome. You open your eyes and think, yes, another day that I will spend with pleasure in this world.
This is when your system is harmonized and all centers are functioning.
Yes. It's when you simply release your energy. You don't even need to do anything special to rearrange it. Just let go. Just flow. You are flowing with these energies. And reality says,
let's go light the lights. You have your second lesson of your first course, and this second lesson essentially provides all the tools needed to birth your energy centers. Essentially, it's enough to do this practice and to do it regularly in order to live in pleasure, and as you said, to ensure that everything works out for you.
Yes, that's all true, but at some point you'll ask, what else is there? There is something there. And then you'll ask again, is there anything else? I will say, there is. I will speak this way as long as you are in a physical body in this world, and it already depends on how much a person, how great their appetite is. Yes, I know that there are practitioners who take the first 2 blocks there, and generally they dive into them without a second thought, and everything suits them. Well, a year or a year and a half goes by and they say, hey, there's still some third block called forces. Let me go check it out. Then there's a fourth, and then I say, listen, what else is there? I say, can we shed the cocoon? Let's go. He doesn't even ask why. Let's go, because he has already tasted it. He understands that this is it. This is the very thing. Yes, it excites him. I really like people who have already dedicated some time to these practices, have tried everything out, and come to me saying, what else? Let's do something more. Show me something new. I tell them, everything is fine. We have plenty to practice.
So each subsequent step in your system becomes more and more challenging.
Of course, I speak until the moment you have a physical body in this world. I have been searching for this system for about 10 years and endlessly. Sometimes you look at yourself from the outside and think, my God, what a great job you've done pushing through this topic and finding that very thing that makes your heart burn.
Do you want to unlock your inner strength and learn to manage energy? The course, Power of Consciousness 1. Practical energy will provide you with tools to improve health, develop intuition, and gain a deeper understanding of the world. Join and start changing your life right now. Link in the description. Do you want to unlock your inner strength and learn to manage energy? The course, Power of Consciousness 1. Practical energy will provide you with tools to improve health, develop intuition, and gain a deeper understanding of the world. Join and start changing your life right now. Link in the description.